For more on what's ahead for AI, let's turn to Eamon, who's with Meta's President of Global Affairs, Nick Clegg. Eamon.
Hey, Melissa, that's right. I'm with President Global Affairs of Meta, Nick Clegg. And Nick, you just emerged from this meeting, and just a few steps from where we're standing here, you told me just before we went on the air that there were some surprising conversations between the tech CEOs in that room. Tell me what happened behind closed doors.
I think first it was a pretty sort of new precedent to have so many different companies who, in their day jobs are competitors with each other, sitting around the same table, not just amongst themselves, but with obviously politicians, senators, and folk from civil society. Some are more pessimistic about AI, others are more optimistic. But I think everybody recognizes this is a foundational technology. It's not a new app, it's not a new piece of hardware. This will pervade everything. This will affect and touch every single aspect of our lives over time, and therefore, if you want to do anything about it, if you want to get the best out of it while mitigating against the worst, you've got to do that together. And I think this is an important process, because everyone's trying to kind of feel their way to work out where the guardrails should be, where the regulation should play a role.
So what was the most surprising thing that happened in that room between some of the, you had Mark Zuckerberg, obviously your boss, we had Elon Musk, we had Bill Gates, we had some titans in that room.
Yeah, I think the most striking thing is everybody recognizes that the US is in the lead. The US is clearly in the lead. These big American companies who've got they've got the finance, they've got the data, they've got the computing power, they've got the data to build these large language models, and they're doing so with far greater innovation than anywhere else in the world. So then the question is, how do you maintain American leadership? And one thing that certainly, people like us at Meta and many others around that table feel is that the more you can, not always, sometimes it's not sensible to do so, but the more you can share that technology, the more you can open source it so that people start operating on the kind of standards and values that you've enshrined in that technology, the better it is for American leadership going forward.
And we were told that Mark Zuckerberg made that point in the room about open source. What else did Zuckerberg tell that group?
Well, I think that we have to recognize that if you want to innovate safely, actually doing it openly is the best way that you can get researchers and others to stress test the models that you're producing. So, for instance, not only Meta, but many of those companies in that room, we'd all submitted our latest large language models to DEF CON in Las Vegas a few weeks ago, so that hackers could try and kind of do their best, or rather do their worst, to try and break the systems and stress test them. So through that kind of process, that culture of open innovation, of which there's a great long kind of American tradition, you actually make the systems not only more ingenious and cutting edge technologically, but you make them safer as well.
Do these tech CEOs get to spend much time with each other like they did today? I mean, it seems like they're all embedded in their own silos. They've got enormous staffs around them, entourages everywhere they go. Do they get to do this kind of face-to-face interaction?
No, not that much. Of course, they see each other, and they see each other at conferences and meetings and so on. But I think it was a pretty unusual thing, and it was particularly unusual that it's not just the tech CEOs being brought together, but also folk from very different perspectives, from civil society and so on, and of course leading senators. I think that was unusual, and it's the kind of right approach at this early stage, because if you're going to, if senators are going to regulate, they need to be quite open in receiving input about where they should regulate.